Hey guys, welcome to another video from the Parrot Bros. Now today we're going to be tackling some of the issues I have with the front of this car. There is a few, but today we're going to start with the headlights because as you can see, I don't know how well you can see in the video, they are faded on the top half worse than the bottom half. Now this is a really common problem on pretty much any car with plastic headlights, but the TTs do suffer extra hard. Now I have got a few things that you can buy from anywhere. I've gone for the Autoglym kit because this is the one that's got the best reviews from what I can find, and it's the easiest thing to buy. eBay, Amazon, Halfords, wherever. I got this from Halfords. Masking tape and some water in a spray bottle, which to be fair is to wet the headlight but also to wet yourself if it's warm like it is today. And you're going to need a battery drill. Now before we get stuck into it, let's jump into the intro. So, the benefits to buying a kit is technically it should have everything in there that you will need to complete the job. Now, the only thing it doesn't come with is masking tape. We will read the instructions, but basically it's a variant of grit sandpaper starting from very coarse right the way up to really fine and finishing with a pad and some compound. Now, what we're going to do first is we'll start off by masking the area. It will make a little bit of a mess, but they do give you a cloth to clean up with as well. So that's always handy. I would advise having the bonnet shut, only because if you have the bonnet open, you'll end up flicking loads of white sanding residue everywhere, and it's a real pain in the bum to clean off. Now, I recommend buying good masking tape. This one I thought was good, but apparently isn't great. But what I'll do is I'll get this all masked up and then I'll come back to you. It may not be the nicest, neatest job, but it works. Get a few layers all the way around, because if you do run off, last thing you want to do is get your paintwork. I mean, by all means, if you're a little bit clumsy, tape all the way down and all the way over the bonnet if you've got time. Use a reasonably low tack masking tape because you don't want to have to tear it off as it comes off later. You start with, now then I'll show you the kit quickly. Basically, there's a variation of different grit sanding papers and some foam pads as well. The foam pads are what you use the water with later on, and then last there's a polishing pad which you use the compound for once you're finished. Now I've started off by adding, I'll show you the attachment, small attachment here like that. It goes into a drill on a reasonably fast speed, and we're going to be working around the area. It says on this, it says a drill, you want to use a fully charged drill, and ideally it needs to be, what did it say, between 12 and 1600 RPM speed setting. Now I have no idea what that is on this, but we'll say that it is, yeah. It's not a particularly fast one, so what we got to do is with this highest grit, this is an 800 piece, basically just scuff up the whole area dry. You want to get it all to a milky finish, all smooth, so it all looks uniform, then we refine it back from there. So I'll just start doing that now. Trying to get our cloth and wipe it off as we go, see where we're working better. Now this has already had some product on it, hence this horrible brown stuff. The pad once it gets thickened up, you do need to replace it. So it does say to go through, there's quite a few pads in here for that exact reason. You might be able to clean them, I don't know. Let's try. Yeah, you can. So give it a good clean up while it's still sanding. You'll be good as gold. Try and keep it flat on the light. Okay, so I've finished stage one, which was the 800 grit, and it gives you this sort of horrible looking kind of sanded finish, which obviously when you compare to the other one looks completely different. Now this isn't a bad thing. It tells you to do left to right and then up and down. Then we're going to move on to 1500, which is basically just refining what we've already done. So I'll carry on with that now. I managed to get away with just using 2 of the sanding pads, and that was all I did. Was when it started getting dusted up, just take it off and give it a tap out, and it was all right again. It didn't lose any of its integrity. Make sure your paper's all still covering the paintwork. Last thing you want to do is go through that, so mask well. Check your pad. Most of it's just loose. Give it a wipe over. Make sure you're not missed anything. Couple of ways, up and down and then left and right. Make sure you haven't missed nothing. You don't need loads of pressure. You should just be able to let it walk around. I'm just holding the drill in place to stop it going left to right and jumping about. Right, so it's starting to look clearer already. Oh, it's really staticky. What's next? Next we move on to the 2000. Then we get to use a spray bottle. So this is a slightly more padded one. It's got a bit of a foam to it. So get that on your thing, and it says, what does it say to do with the 2000? Attach the 2000 with a backing plate using a spray bottle, dampen the foam disc and the lens surface using medium pressure, sand the headlight even up and down. If the sanding dries out, spray a little bit more water onto the headlight. The heavier marks should be visibly removed, leaving just a slightly cloudy headlight. So this is the messy bit. But this also should start looking really good. So try a bit, get used to it, and then worst case you can always add a bit more water. Okay, so now we can give it a wipe. We'll see what we've got. Starting to look better already. Oh yeah. There's a lot more of an even finish. There is a few bits where it just leaving a bit of residue, which is fine. We'll move on to our next grade. Now, what I would recommend doing is if you're not sure if you've covered all the parts, make sure I'm recording still. Yeah, we are. So what I would recommend doing is taking your time. This you can do quite a bit of, so you don't have to worry too much about going over an area twice or anything like that. The most important thing is obviously make sure you've masked it up properly. If you've masked it up properly, especially around here, because it's quite easy to burn through, so make sure you get a few coats. If you want, you can open it up and then just maybe lay a towel or something on the engine just to stop the spray going on it. And just take your time, there's no rush, it's not a race. You want to get a nice even finish. If you go down to the 800 and you do all the 800 and then you come back up again and you've still got sort of a hazy line at the top or whatever, go back again, start again, it won't matter. Let's just move on to our 3000 now. Make sure I'm not jumping ahead. Yep, attach the 3000 back in plate, use the spray bottle, dampen the foam disc. Do again medium pressure. So that literally medium pressure is I'm just holding the drill on there and I'm just using this hand to steady it, because obviously if you don't, and you try and do it, it'll run, the drill will run whichever way it's spinning. So that just holds it, and it holds it flat. You don't want to go at an angle because you'll burn it. Nice and flat. I'm quite enjoying this because this is starting to look good already. So nice and wet. Oh, it's so warm today. Right, let's start again. Now, always go the way you've come, so make sure you cover every path, overlap a tiny bit, same when you're going left to right as well. Perfect. Let's have a look. Oh, it's getting better already. Now what have we got left? Are we on to the polishing? 3000. At this point it should be more translucent, even finish, which it is. There's just a little bit of hazing here and there, and then a bit of dirt on the inside. Again, the heavier marks should be visibly removed, which they are. Polishing. Now we get to use the polish. Apply a small amount of headlight restoration compound before turning the drill on. Yeah, okay, fine. So this is something I am more familiar with, is polishing. Now, polishing is good fun, but also messy. So what you want to do is not throw it halfway down the driveway. Right, give your compound a good shake, because you don't know how long it's been sat there. You don't want any watery bits in there. See whether it's got a seal on it. No, it hasn't, good. Now, one more about, and that is how you undo it, yeah. So, what you want to do is a few little blobs on here, nothing too major, because obviously this will flick absolutely everywhere. And what you want to do is actually push it onto the headlight and push it down in a few places first. I need to get myself an Alice band. Like that. I would recommend starting on a slow speed just to spread it around. You may need to put some more on, but you won't know till you've started. And just spread it around a bit, so you've got a nice even coverage of compound everywhere. Like I said, worst case, you can always put more on later. Now you can go on to the faster speed. Wow, that looks phenomenal. Give it a wipe off. I'll probably do a couple of these just to get rid of any marring, because there's going to be some marks. Obviously we've been sanding the crap out of it. So again, same procedure. You always get these little bits where it touches the masking tape, you get like an adhesive line. Don't worry about that, that's normal. This headlight has actually got a scuff on the inside somehow. Who knows? There's also some bugs in there, so we'll have to give that a blowout at some point. But this is, I mean, hopefully this is coming up on the camera how good this looks, because this is ridiculous. Oh, try not to get too carried away with the polish as well, because you don't need that much. So the compound is like a gritty paste, as far as I'm aware. Let's have a feel. Oh, it's actually that bad. It's quite a soft compound. So again, way too much, but slow speed, spread it around, make sure you got it everywhere. And again, try and work around, make sure you cover every bit. Oh, I'll stand up for this a bit easier. Don't worry if you're working in a certain area for a little bit longer than, as long as you're not staying dead still, it won't burn it. Right, and that is us done. That is super easy. Now, just with your cloth, you're going to have little bits where you've just touched the masking tape and you've just got a little bit of adhesive on the edge. Just give it a good wipe. You might need to just get a toothbrush and get rid of some of the bits at the sides, just where it's got a bit more extra compound or whatever. But the finish, hopefully the finish talks for itself. Now, I don't know what it looks like on the video. I'll give you a close-up and a comparison between the two, but that is phenomenal. Now, the only thing that it hasn't said about, which I will do, is it hasn't said about any kind of protection, because obviously the damage caused, the cloudiness on the light is caused by UV damage to the sun, and it actually just kind of melts the plastic over a period of time. Now, there is ways of stopping that. The easiest option is a ceramic coat, which is what I'll be doing. I'll show you that in a second. And that is a like a plastics and trim. And all that does is it's a UV protection, so it stops the sun damaging the plastics. Or you can use a lacquer of some description. Now, I am not trusted with a can of paint, not with anything with a nice finish. With these bumper grills is fine, but with something like this, I would not be trusted. But you could clear lacquer it, whether that's 2K or whatever you use. A lot of them come with like a finishing spray to stop them getting damaged in the future. Now, I won't be doing that, like I said, because I'm not trusted. But if you are like Rattle Can Rob and you're trusted, then happy days. Now, what does it say with that? It doesn't really say anything other than just to give it a wash afterwards. So what I'll do is I'll get the other one done, and then I'll come back to you and show you what I'm going to be putting on these to protect them for the future. Okay, so I've completed the process on both sides. Now we're going to go to put in some protection on. It's always worth wearing protection. I mean, putting protection on the plastics. Make sure they're nice and clean. I have cleaned them, but where they've been polished, they're awfully static. But basically, just give them a wipe over, nice and clean. And then you get this C4 trim restorer, and it comes with a little pad. These are good for wheels, plastics, pretty much anything other than paint. But to be fair, you could probably use it on your paint as well. Wouldn't matter too much. And what you'll do is just a few drops on a cloth, and then just cover the whole area. And then leave it on for a few seconds, and then you can wipe off. Just make sure to go over every area. Make sure you don't miss any. Try and be systematical. What I try and do is go up and down all the way across. So you've got everything covered, then go round the outside and then do your straight lines. So that way you've covered every part of it. The flashing time, especially when it's warm like now, it doesn't help it's in direct sunlight, but leave that for literally a few seconds and then we'll wipe it off. And that is your UV protection. Your headlights shouldn't go back to being hazy and horrible like they were before. They should stay nice and shiny, and also you might actually be able to see at night. Now what I would recommend doing when wiping this product off is, once you've done the light and you know you've got it all off, is flip to a nice clean side and just go wide. Go round, get the paintwork, just in case you accidentally put a little bit more on than you should have done. It has happened. You just don't want it to dry on anywhere, and that is it. Protected. You can do a couple of coats if you want, but one coat will add enough protection to stop it going horrible again. Right, let me give you a close-up because I haven't actually given you a proper look around at what they look like now. But it transforms the front end of the car straight away. I mean, this car was clean anyway, but I mean, look at that now. The reflection is ridiculous. It's so shiny, and that took me probably 15 minutes. It's hard to get on camera what it actually looks like, but because they're the black ones, but they look phenomenal. Really happy with the results. I might actually be able to see at night now. No haziness. Because they're not the silver ones, it's really hard to see, but you get the idea. Let's give you a look back. Look at that, look. Perfect. There you go, you can see a bit better how shiny that is. So what I'm going to do is go and do the other one, give it some protection, and then we're done. What I will do is probably on the next video, whilst we're on the front end, I'll probably attack the upper grille, get that back to its original shininess because it's a bit grey looking, and we'll also get these recoated up. I've done a video on both, so if you do want to check that out, I'll put links down in the description. But I just thought I may as well just document me working through and tidying up the front end and whatever, just in case people haven't seen the videos or just want re-inspiring. But that is the lights done. I am super happy with them. They look fantastic. And at night now, I might actually be able to see where I'm going. So, and thanks for watching, guys. And until the next one, bye for now.